Any paper news?
Well, yeah, so actually my favourite journalist in Britain has written a lovely column, Goalkeepers, Victims of the Modern Way. A guy called Tony Cascarino in the Times. But really talking about, obviously, we've seen the Man United Tottenham goalkeeper fiasco where there were
at Southampton.
I don't want to talk about it, really. But you can if you want.
You're behind 3 setties there, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly. And Gavin Bazzunu's injured, and like your piece in the Times talking about... being practical. This is Cass writing in the Times. I don't understand this lack of flexibility because results are what matters. What matter? Coaches like Postecoglou and Martin appear too wedded to a philosophy to adapt when they do not have the players to follow it successfully. I don't want football to return to the Route 1 style of old, but balance is needed. Do you think that these goalkeepers are being asked to do something they can't, and unfairly so?
Well, I think it's a strange idea. It's a flawed idea that if you keep asking people who are not capable to play out from the back, and it started with playing at the back, but I turned it into some other issues as well with goalkeeping. I'm not a goalkeeper, but I played in front of I've probably had 25 goalkeepers I've had shared the team with. And I'm watching goalkeepers now. I take corners, okay? Corners now, goalkeepers used to have the decision. Coaches would say, do you want 1 or 2 on the post? What would you prefer? Or would you prefer no one on the post? The goalkeeper would have that decision to make. That's not the case anymore. Everyone's designed that the goalkeeper just stays on the line, and when you see the goals, the Tottenham Man United game was just extraordinary for so many mistakes. And then I went on to the palming the ball out. Now, goalkeepers practice this on a daily basis, even in my time. Shots that when they parry the ball out, they don't parry it back into danger. They know how to parry it so it goes wide of the post or just to an area that... It's a bit like a clearance with a header. You don't head it into a dangerous position in the 18-yard box. You try and get distance and knock it out wide where it's less dangerous. Goalkeepers now are parrying it back into danger. I just don't get... And I feel sorry. Well, can I just make one quick point on this, Nat?
Yeah.
I feel sorry for keepers that they don't feel like they've got a voice anymore because of this idea of at every level they have to play out and keep the ball, and goalkeepers are asked to do things at all different levels. Do you know what was strange about the old game was that you played the top flight, we didn't play the same way in the divisions lower because we couldn't do what they did. Now I'm watching it across the board, everybody's attempting to play out in ridiculous parts of the pitch.
Kids as well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a funny one, isn't it? Because we've talked about this before, about the versatility of a manager and being able to mix things up at times and not always sticking to one plan because that's all you know and that's all that you want to implement. But there are times, and I remember seeing it actually after the Chelsea game where Brentford lost on Sunday. There were a few Chelsea fans talking about Brentford being a long ball team, and at times they will be a long ball team because sometimes that's the only way that we can make it work.
That's one of your strengths. You can mix it up.
But the problem is that people see it as a negative being long ball because we're so used to play it on the carpet, play it, keep it low, play out from the back. Play that expansive style of football, but you get critiqued for that.
Even if you win
play
games.
long ball.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, but there will be people that say, long ball merchants.
Well, I can tell you what.
Nowadays, it's all about playing this beautiful style of football, which we all enjoy, don't get me wrong, I love it. But like I say, I just saw a few comments about that and I was thinking, well, what do you want us to do? We had to try and change it.
If Juric kept Saints up playing long ball, just getting it launched, I would be over the moon.
Okay, look. If the team are not particularly good in the air, you take advantage of them lacking quality in that area. So you'll get balls into dangerous areas. If they're exceptional, you might try and want to play it down the sides. And my point on goalkeepers, I feel like they have less than they've ever got about their position because they need to have the trust from the manager that their goalkeeper can go and make his own decisions when he's playing football. I feel like everything now is literally robot goalkeepers. They're all, watching them flap. Watching the Man United keeper flap that for the corner there was some pings in, and you're thinking, this is happening. The level of goalkeeping has gone down. And I think in every other position, and I don't know if it's because of the way they're being, say, coached, but they have to stick to the idea.
Well, the other thing that's an aside with the goalkeepers is they don't catch the ball as often. No. It's always punching the ball out. And sometimes you think, I think you could have caught that, no?
Quite comfortably.
And not made it as dramatic as it looked. And then sometimes you punch it out and it leads to danger straight away.
I'd love to know the data, and I don't know if it's out there, of the goalkeepers taking the ball, like from crosses on the penalty spot. How many do that? compared to years gone by. Because, yes, you do see them, you just don't see it that often anymore.
Yeah.
You know, goalkeepers would, you know, what a great thing for a centre-half. Trusting a keeper can come and take things off their heads and think, great, we've got commanding keeper. Just doesn't happen as much.
That position's kind of changed, isn't it? But you're obviously arguing for pragmatism over philosophy.
Just be goalkeepers. Just be goalkeepers.
Do you think players in general just have less trust as well? Because they're all working in systems. So it's not just the goalkeepers. They're all, like we talked about Grealish as well today.
Yeah.
The fact that there's maybe less problem solving on the pitch for some of these players.
But it's also just that. I mean, I'll come back to the Brentford-Southampton game where I think it was 3-1, was it in the end? I think all 3 goals came from Brentford pressing. And it was still, after the first goal, you think, well, maybe you've learnt a lesson. No, you still wanted to play the same way. You still want to play out with Aaron Ramsdale. That's the way they've been told to play. You think at one point Russell Martin might have said, and I know we know ever since he was always very keen to stick with the way he wanted to play.
Ramsdale, who lost his position at Arsenal because he can't play out well with his feet.
But that's why the manager should be able to go, stop, this is not working in this game. Stop this.
The manager's lost his job. What happened to Wolves? Brought in Sam Johnson. Sarr came in. Okay? He didn't do particularly well. O'Neill's now lost his job.
Yeah.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.